Many new firefighters joining the Plano Fire Department were either too young to remember 9/11 or they weren't even born yet.
And that's why there's now a permanent reminder at Fire Station 8 in Plano, a mural as well as a piece of Ground Zero steel to make sure younger generations never forget. Fox 4's David Santendry is in Plano with the story. David.
Steve and Heather, it took a local artist about 50 hours to put this mural together. You can see behind me this iconic 9/11 image that's portrayed again right here. Some of the detail, you can see souls being lifted up into heaven. That's one thing they wanted to show. Again, all of this, a reminder for firefighters here in Texas about what happened in New York back in 2001, and those two words you mentioned, never forget. Never forget.
Yes, never forget.
A phrase repeated every year since the September 11th, 2001 terrorist attacks.
Everybody knew where they were. Everybody had their own story, what they went through that day.
But when fire engineer Larson Leidig realized that nearly 2 decades later, some up-and-coming firefighters are too young to remember the attacks or maybe weren't even born, he and other members of the Plano Fire Department decided they should have a permanent reminder.
We want something that keeps those events in their conscious.
The department hired Dallas artist Michael McFeeters to paint a tribute at Fire Station 8 to the first responders who sacrificed their lives to save others. It's part of a bigger picture. The department has a chunk of Ground Zero steel on display, a painting of the red bandana used by civilian Wells Crowther, who saved lives at the World Trade Center in New York City before the Twin Towers collapsed. There are plans to hang photos of first responders meeting with President George W. Bush, as well as photos from soldiers who went into Afghanistan with pouches of Ground Zero steel.
You know, we can't tell the story of every hero that day, but we want to tell as many as possible from this.
Leidig points to the Statue of Liberty looking towards Ground Zero.
She's looking at the cost of our freedom and our liberties that we have and what we went through and the sacrifices that were made. All these white dots are souls going to heaven.
He believes the way Americans came together following 9/11 is something to be taught. He hopes this mural furthers that lesson while paying respect to those who lost their lives.
9/11 was our generation's Pearl Harbor.
Now, this mural was $12,000 to get done, but we want to make clear none of this was tax money. What was cool, the fire department was telling us, is that a number of local businesses in the community came to contribute actually around $16,000 to make sure this happened, and a number of other things that will be here at the fire department. Steve, Heather.
All right, David, thank you. Reporting from Plano.